Good morning, everyone. I know there's a lot going on. There's still stuff going on out there. And essentially, people are unable to keep up. That's the problem. It's too much going on. And I'm going to get started in a minute. Um, I think I see the avatar moving. So that means that I can be heard, right? I don't know how clearly I can be heard. But if you want to drop down and let me know if I can be heard, please feel free to do it. I wanted to discuss some things, and I probably should include something else in the title, Bangladesh, as well, because even though I have been away for a while, in and out, essentially, I have was on a hiatus, but I was still here, and I heard a lot of things that were, I think, disturbing and um, unfair to Black people who are Black and who have lived Black, were born Black, mama's Black or daddy's Black or whatever. And so I basically um, turned it around in my head quite a bit and decided that it was something that I wanted to address. And I hope I can be heard. I have to start all over. But um, all this stuff that I've heard on certain platforms when they are discussing Blackness and they're telling some people, you aren't Black, you ain't Black, you light skinned, you ain't Black, your father was white, you ain't Black, your mother was white, you ain't Black. And I don't know when this happened, but you know, for 500 years, it's been if you have one drop of Black blood, then you are Black. And when I learned recently, only recently, that Bob Marley had a white father, and I just thought, so now I wonder if they're going to say he's not Black. Bob Marley's not Black. You know, he was persecuted for his Blackness, attempted assassinations for his Blackness. Since when does skin tone determine Blackness? You know, all the light skinned people in the past were slaves and considered Black. But then you have to wonder who creates this narrative. Think about it. Who would it serve to create division and lower our numbers as a people? Think about it. And they even came up with a whole new name, biracial. But biracial is not a race, it's a category. We used to call it mixed, but the people were still considered Black. So if we looked at it like that, we would have to abandon Angela Davis, Huey Newton, and Rosa Parks. I mean, somebody light skinned isn't Black? Come on. But here's Bob Marley. I want to know what those people have to say now, because this was truly a man who was Black and he was devoted to Black people and he loved Black people. So are these people on here, this little section, going to say he's not Black? Because he was Black. And, you know, I think that this has gone really too far. If somebody's light skinned, you can't say they're not Black. Good morning, Juanita. If somebody's light skinned, you can't say they're not Black. like I said, for 500 years, the rule has been one drop of black blood and you're black. Even in New Orleans, with some of the fair skinned people who are really fair skinned, you wouldn't know they had any black history. They were classified into groups like octoroons and macaroons and all this kind of stuff, depending on the shade of their complexion. So this new thing that some people on here are saying that certain people are not black because they're light skinned is ridiculous. I mean, we all have light skinned people in our families, but the thing is that perhaps if you did your genealogy, you'd find out you probably might have more white in you than you think. But that's not going to change your experience. Paul Mooney was a comedian. May you rest in peace. But he was a woke comedian. He wrote the jokes for Richard Pryor. He wrote the jokes for In Living Color. He was fantastic, but he was really woke. And he used to say that anybody who thinks they're not black is going to get their nigga wake up call because we're all considered black. That narrative was created and eased into people's minds. And you have to look at how it was done and who they are and who's sitting beside them and whispering in their ear and saying, they're not black, they're not black. I mean, that is done for a specific reason. It is to cause division. And I'm not going, okay? I have people in my family who are very, very fair. I'm not very, very fair, but my great-great-grandmother was, my grandmother was, okay? And they were black. They were considered black. They ate at the colored only diners. They drank out of the colored only water faucets and went to the colored only bathrooms. Okay? But to try to denounce people because of their skin tone or because of their parentage, that's really absurd. And I think that people need to look at it differently. Like I said, I challenge anybody to say, and they're not going to say that Bob Marley wasn't black. Okay? And they're not going to say that Huey Newton wasn't black. And they're not going to say that Angela Davis isn't black. And they're not going to say that W.E.B. Du Bois wasn't black. And they're not going to say that Rosa Parks wasn't black. But to say it to anyone at all is incorrect and inadequate. Now, Juanita, the other thing I wanted to talk about was, even though, like I say, I was, not doing lives, and so I was around, I was seeing what was going on, and from the clouds or whatever. But when they talked to one lady and they gave her a lot of problems because her family origins, historically, her ancestors were from Bangladesh. Bangladesh is not a white country. Some of those people are browner than some of the people making that noise. Okay? Now, this particular young lady was born in America from a black woman's womb. Okay? So she's black, but they're saying she's Bangladesh. And then to say a person from Bangladesh is an Arab, or to say where Jesus walked, is pure ignorance, just pure ignorance. Bangladesh is not anywhere near the Middle East, because that's where Jesus walked. In fact, it's a fairly new country. They fought for their independence and won, and that fight was memorialized by the Beatles in song in the 1970s. Bangladesh is close to India, and they are people of color. Now, in this particular case, the parents of this young lady, the parents of This young lady's father migrated to America before her father was born. Their son, her father, was born in America. So he's American. He's not Bangladesh. He met and fell in love with a black woman, and he was no more Bangladesh than you or I. He is an American, and his daughter is a black American. And I think it's insensitive and foolish and just really ignorant for people to get up and talk about something and they know nothing about it. I think some people know that there are Indian people in India who are darker than some of the black Americans over here. Well, the same thing goes for Bangladesh. But don't say that the person isn't black because of their parentage, because then you'd have to say the same thing about Bob Marley. He came out of a black woman's womb, and so did this other lady. And we can't just toss their blackness aside and say, you're not black. I think it's very idiotic. And if you're going to talk about a country, look on a map and do some historical research and learn some geography. I think that would be the appropriate way to handle it. And if you want to call yourself woke, then wake up and see what's really going on. Because this narrative is doing nothing but separating black people. And it's never been done like this before. And when people start feeling, well, I'm not black, they say I'm not black. Okay, we lose the unity of black people. Because we were one at one time, no matter, we come in many different hues. And we were all one. This, you not black, you ain't black. Do your own genealogy. Who knows where, your white blood came from or your other blood came from. It may have come from Australia. Who knows? Good morning, Johnny Mac. How are you today? So I would hope that you do some research and stop this madness about who's black and who's not black, because there's too many light-skinned black people in this country to try to throw them away and say they're not black. Like I said, and I'm going to name them again, Juanita. Huey Newton, Angela Davis, W.B. Du Bois, Rosa Parks. All of these people were light-skinned. Okay? And they were fighters for us as a people. And that's what we have to get away from, that division. So that's what I wanted to talk about. And hopefully someone, will hear this that needs to hear it. Those people that are doing this, to those other people, to people on here, saying they're not black and they're this and that. Yeah, Juanita, that's why the colorists talk. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, we're all one people. And like I said, biracial is not a race. It's a category. Okay? Bottom line is, what race are you considered? Yeah, sowing discard, Juanita, you're exactly right. And it's got to be coming from the oppressor. It's not coming from within, because I've never heard this before. We vote sometimes as a block, sometimes we don't vote as a block, but we all, as Paul Mooney said, we all get our nigga wake-up call. Okay? And when you come to political parties, which, are mostly run by white folks, unfortunately, I think that we need to take Michael Jackson's song to heart. They don't really care about us. They want our vote. Used to be they show up at the churches to get the vote, and then nothing else. We wouldn't see them no more till the next 4 years or whatever it was, or next 2 years, however the term was, lengthy the term was. They are sowing division and trying to separate us. And we cannot allow that to happen. As Juanita said, sowing discord. So that's all I wanted to talk about. I'm not going to be on here long. I have a lot of things, not a lot of things, a couple more things I want to talk about. Don't know if I'll get around to them today, but there's a lot going on out there on the YouTube streets, and I have something to say about that too. And it's really, really lit out there. So I don't know how people are keeping up with all of it. They're running from place to place to place to place to place, from channel to channel to channel to channel, trying to keep up. I can't keep up with it. I like to get a synopsis and some clip notes because I can't be on those 5 hours, you know, lives. Yeah, you have a great day too, Juanita. Oh, you're homeschooling them. Oh, that's wonderful. Well, okay, you guys, thanks for dropping in. Thank you, Johnny Mac. And I will see you guys another time when I get really ready to address something that's going on the streets right now. All righty. Let me thing. I'm not really good at that either right now. I'm going to put this up here. Good morning. Good night. Oh, and that avatar, my avatar, that is Bob Marley, his mother, and his father. Just want to make that clear. Alrighty. Bye-bye.